Hi guys, thanks for tuning into my video. I'm really gonna skip that whole intro part because I just I can't do an intro, so yeah. So I'm making caramel brownies and I suggest that every time you start with brownies, you start with flour. And the reason why I say this is because people tend to forget that brownies also need flour. They don't know where the color comes from. So once you learn that the color comes from the cocoa powder, if you add that first, you may forget that you need flour after mixing everything. So I start with flour, sugar, cocoa powder, and baking powder, and salt. And then I mix in the vanilla extract, the eggs, and then the butter. So I usually do solids first, then the liquidy mixtures. And usually I've noticed that a lot of bakers, they use like one bowl for the solids, one bowl for like the liquidy, flowy substances. I don't know what you want to call it. But yeah, they mix it in separate bowls and then after they just combine it all together. And that is really good for how the texture of the brownie or cake will be. And yeah, every time I mix it with the blender, is that a blender? The baking blender. That's what I'm gonna call it because I forget. The mixing thing. So when I mix it with that, I usually wipe off the edges to make sure I get everything in. And yeah, and I usually go in between while it's mixing, I just kind of wash whatever I've been using. I was sanitizing my hands because, you know, Corona's out here. I don't have coronavirus though, please. And I use a non-stick spray. After wiping down my pan, I just spray it out. Pour the batter, have the oven preheated to about 375 degrees or 350, but just know that if it's at 350, it'll bake for a longer amount of time, and if it's at 375, it has a higher chance of burning quickly, obviously. And yeah, that's how you make brownies. I added more caramel. I was just kind of being artsy. It really wasn't necessary here, but it doesn't affect the taste. So once I put them in the oven, I just wash whatever else I have to wash. And they're ready. Also, a knife will, I don't want to say definitely, but a knife will most likely scratch the bottom surface of your pan. But, actually there are no buts. It will scratch the bottom of the pan if you press hard. So I would say you can use one of the Flexi, that pink spatula that I have to cut, and it will cut. You'll see, it'll cut. So yeah, here I really started taking out every single individual brownie and making you guys watch that, which probably wasn't necessary, but you'll be alright. So yeah, cut, repeat. That's the moment I decided that was unnecessary. And now decorating it, because presentation is everything. So that's powdered sugar, and I personally think that if it looks good, it tastes good. And now I just drizzle caramel on top and chef's kiss, voila.